Picture this, I'm elbow deep in a vat of simmering apple cider dough, the kind that fills the air with that sweet tangy bite of cinnamon and cloves, steam curling up like lazy ghosts under the rafters of my grandmother's old-in kitchen. The Rocky Mountain sun's dipping low over Evergreen Pass, painting the snow-capped peaks outside the window in strokes of burnt orange and lavender, and the only sounds are the rhythmic cluck of my hens out back and the faint crackle of the wood-fired oven. It's one of those perfect Colorado autumn evenings where the air smells like pine resin and possibility, and for a split second, I feel like I've finally got my life stitched back together. Single mom, head chef, innkeeper, yeah, it's a juggle, but this place, this creaky, charm-packed Victorian heap called Whispering Pines in, it's my anchor. My reset button after my jerk of an ex bailed and left me with our 8-year-old Spitfire, Lila, and a mountain of bills. Then bam, the front door explodes open like a cannon shot, hinges squealing in protest. In storms Meredith Mary Langford, all 5'0" of her squeezed into a power suit that screams I summer in Aspen and winter in Dubai, flanked by 2 burly guys in ill-fitting blazers who look like they moonlight as bouncers at a microbrewery. Mary's got that helmet head hairdo, bleached blonde and shell-lacked within an inch of its life, and her perfume hits me like a cloud of expired lavender, cloying, invasive, the kind that lingers like a bad memory. Riley Thompson. She barks, waving a clipboard like it's the friggin' 10 Commandments. This establishment is in violation of Historic Peak Preservation Committee bylaws, Section 4.2, unauthorized commercial use of heritage property. Shut it down, or we'll have the sheriff here by dawn. I wipe flour off my hands on my apron, heart pounding like a bass drum, and glance at Lila peeking from the pantry, her big brown eyes wide as saucers. What would you do if some pint-sized tyrant waltzed into your home, your sanctuary, and declared war over a batch of cider donuts? Me, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because if I didn't, I'd probably cry. Or punch something. Mary, honey, I say, channeling every ounce of that southern grit my grandma drilled into me, this inn's been serving folks since 1892. What's this committee nonsense? Last I checked, you run the book club, not the town. She thrusts the clipboard under my nose, some photocopied gibberish with a fake gold seal that looks like it came from a dollar store sticker book. Read it and weep, darling. Your little bed and breakfast is desecrating Evergreen's historic fabric. Tourists traipsing through these halls ruining the patina unthinkable. The officials behind her shift awkwardly, one muttering about overtime pay. Turns out, they're just locals she bribed with free lats from her yoga studio. As she spins on her Louboutins click-clack across my hardwood like gunfire, I slam the oven door a little too hard, the heat blasting my face like a warning. This wasn't just a pop-in, this was the opening salvo in what would become the fight of my life. And trust me, your petty neighbor beefs, they got nothing on this. Drop your own merry meltdown stories in the comments, let's commiserate, Colorado style. My name's Riley Thompson, and before Mary Langford crash-landed in my world like a meteor made of entitlement and bad Botox, I was just a 36-year-old chef scraping by in the shadow of Longs Peak. Born and raised in Evergreen, this speck of a town tucked into the Front Range where the aspens turn electric yellow in fall and the elk bugle at dawn like they're auditioning for a nature documentary. The air up here crisp as a fresh apple, laced with that earthy musk of damp moss and distant wood smoke from chimney stacks. Sounds like heaven if heaven smells like elk scat and freedom. Grandma Elsie left me the Whispering Pines Inn 6 months ago, after a quiet slip in the tub that the doc called old age catching up. She'd poured her soul into that place, polished the oak banisters till they gleamed like honey, hung quilts she'd stitched from scraps of our family history, turned the wraparound porch into a front row seat for meteor showers that made you believe in magic. It was her legacy, built from the ground up after Grandpa died in a mill accident back in '68. Riley girl, she'd say, her voice like gravel wrapped in velvet, this ain't just walls and windows. It's stories. Feed 'em good, listen close, and they'll keep you warm through any blizzard. I took that to heart. After culinary school in Boulder, where I learned to coax flavors from foraged morels and craft beer-infused reductions, I bounced around high-end spots in Denver, chasing Michelin dreams that left me hollow. Then life happened, met a charming sommelier who turned out to be allergic to commitment, got pregnant with Lila during a wine-tasting whirlwind, and watched him vanish faster than a popped cork. Back in Evergreen, crashing in Grandma's guest room, I nursed Lila through colic nights that smelled like sour milk and desperation. When the will was red ink still fresh on yellowed paper, the notary's stamp smelling faintly of ink and finality, the inn was mine. All 12 rooms, the herb garden that perfumed the air with rosemary and thyme, the root cellar stocked with jars of choke cherry jam that tasted like summer in a spoon. Stakes, honey, they couldn't be higher. This inn was my shot at stability, Lila's future, my fresh start. Bookings were trickling in, hikers craving post-trail pot roast that fell off the bone, couples seeking that rustic romance with flannel sheets and stargazing. Revenue from cider brunches alone covered the mortgage. Lose it, and we'd be couch surfing with Aunt June, her cats shedding on everything like dandruff from hell. But Mary, she saw dollar signs in those gingerbread trim and leaded glass windows. Evergreen's booming tech brothers from Boulder snapping up cabins for weekend escapes, and Mary Langford, transplant from some gated Florida enclave, had her eye on flipping the inn into a boutique hotel for her Langford Looks chain. Except she couldn't afford market value. So she invented a roadblock, the Historic Peak Preservation Committee. Fake as a $3 bill, but shiny enough to fool the tourists snapping selfies on Main Street. Mary was the queen of performative piety. Picture a ferret in pearls, all sharp teeth and sharper tongue, with a laugh like shattering crystal. She'd roll into town meetings in her cherry red Range Rover, exhaust belching fumes that smelled like overcompensation, and monologue about preserving our heritage while her manicured claws dug into whatever caught her fancy. Motivation, greed wrapped in a bow of faux altruism. Divorced thrice, kids scattered like buckshot, she craved control. The committee, her puppet show, dues from nervous shop owners funneled into her consulting fees. Arrogant, she'd once told the barista at the Daily Grind her soy latte was unacceptably beige and demanded a recount of the beans. Entitled breathing was her birthright. And me just the hillbilly holding the deed she coveted. It started small, the way these things do, like a snowflake that turns into an avalanche. Week 1 post-confrontation, a cascade of citations arrives in my mailbox, the envelope crisp as fresh dead, smelling like printer toner and spite. Violation, excessive foot traffic eroding historic porch planks. Fine, $250. Non-compliant signage, neon open light offends Victorian aesthetic. Another $150. I laugh it off at first, pinning them to the bulletin board like macabre art, but by week 2, the sheriff's deputy, a sweet kid named Toby who once dated my cousin, pulls up in his cruiser, lights flashing blue against the twilight snow flurries. Riley, sorry, he drawls, boots crunching salt on my stoop, breath fogging like dragon smoke. Mary filed a noise complaint. Guests singing karaoke after happy hour, apparently a disturbance to wildlife. Wildlife, the nearest bear was 3 ridges over, probably snoring through hibernation dreams of picnic baskets. I counter with a log, timestamps, guest waivers, decibel readings from my phone app that showed we were quieter than the wind chimes on Mary's own porch. Toby shrugs, the vinyl of his seat creaking as he jots notes. Look, She's got the committee's backing. Says it's for the greater good. Greater good, my ass. But I play nice, invite him to a free brunch, load his plate with biscuits flaky as fresh fallen snow, gravy rich with sausage drippings that make your soul hum. He leaves with a full belly and a seed of doubt. Escalation hit warp speed by month 2. Mary's tactics, a masterclass in manipulation, served with a side of passive-aggressive flyers plastered on every lamppost from the feed store to the trailhead, save our heritage. Boycott Whispering Pines, commercial greed threatens Evergreen's soul. The paper smelled like cheap newsprint and desperation, ink smudging on my fingers as I tore one down, heart twisting like a wrung dishcloth. Bookings tanked, hikers canceling via email, their words polite but laced with that viral fear of supporting the enemy. Lila noticed first, her little brow furrowing over pancakes one misty morning, syrup dripping sticky sweet onto the tablecloth. "Mommy, why don't the nice ladies come sing anymore?" I hug her tight, inhaling the strawberry shampoo that clings to her curls like innocence, and whisper, "Because some grown UPS forgot how to share the magic." But Mary wasn't done. She weaponized the community, cornering my suppliers at the farmer's market, her voice slicing through the chatter of vendors hawking heirloom tomatoes that smelled like sun-ripened earth. "If you deliver to that eyesore, you're complicit in heritage erasure." Old Mr. Hargrove, unrelated, thank God, from the lumber yard folds first, his truck idling with the low rumble of the